goodness! Look at this!
Hello everyone and welcome back to My Nerdy Home. My name is Stephanie. Thank you so much for watching this video. So The Walking Dead did air its season finale. The one that was supposed to air back in April that got delayed because of the coronavirus. It did finally air last night. I did do a watch party for it, and I'm going to continue to do my Walking Dead watch parties from here on out for The Walking Dead World Beyond, because this was supposed to be the season finale of season 10. Since then, we have found out that we are going to get an additional 6 episodes, which are going to premiere, I believe, in early 2021. There are going to be 6 episodes tacked on to season 10, just because season 11 should have been premiering now, around now, but because of the coronavirus, they haven't been able to film. Everything has been shut down. The finale of season 10 couldn't even get finished with post-production because of that, which is why we're getting it so late. So they're going to, instead of delaying season 11 for so long and us going a full year without any episodes of The Walking Dead, they're going to tack on an additional 6 episodes to season 10. And then season 11 is actually going to be an extended season. We're going to get a lot of episodes in season 11. And there's more news regarding The Walking Dead, and I'll cover it in later videos because I do want to cover a lot of Walking Dead on this channel. Not a lot of people that I watch cover The Walking Dead. Not a lot of people that I know watch The Walking Dead, but I have stuck by the show. I've watched the show. I don't think that it is one of those shows that has gone woke. I think that it's just kind of lost its footing for a little while there, and it's finally got back on track. It is really, really good, especially the Whisperer War. Even without Rick Grimes, the show was really fantastic these past couple of seasons. I really enjoyed this finale. There are some things that I did not enjoy. I will get into those as well, but there are plenty of things that I really did enjoy, and I'm going to talk about those first. So this season finale was directed by Greg Nicotero. He is phenomenal. He does excellent work on The Walking Dead. This episode was incredibly intense and claustrophobic for me. Just the characters being in close proximity to the walkers. I know that they have done that before in the past. They've covered themselves in walker guts and they've had to navigate through a horde of walkers. But this horde is large, and not only is it extremely large, but there are whisperers mixed in this horde. And you see the grandness of this horde. It's a huge horde, and it just feels extremely claustrophobic. It feels so closed off. When I'm watching an episode of The Walking Dead, that's really how I love to feel, especially when it's an episode like this, which is supposed to be a season finale for season 10. I love feeling that way. I love feeling that intense feeling that something could go wrong. And I think that they did that brilliantly, especially with this horde. It's a massive horde, and I wouldn't really expect every single character to get through this horde completely unscathed. And we find out that someone did not make it, that someone being Beatrice. I really don't care either way that Beatrice died. That's one of my gripes, and I'll get into that later, but they did go through this horde in order to find a way to move the horde a different way. And then we finally see exactly how Whisperers move this huge horde. And the way it's done is so eerie. I really love the way the Whisperers have kind of learned how to manipulate this horde to move on their command. And the way you see Beta, the Whisperers, whisper to move the horde a certain way, and we see them moving in the direction that they need them to move. It's so eerie, and it puts our characters at risk. That is so well done. It was so well done. I love it. I loved the way they showed that, because that was something that I really wanted to see ever since Alpha showed Daryl their huge freaking horde. That was something that I wanted to see. I wanted to see how exactly the Whisperers moved a gigantic horde like that. Because in that scene and in the comics, Alpha tells him, my people are mixed in with that horde. They control how the horde moves. So I really wanted to see that, and we finally get to see that in this episode, and it's fantastic. It's remarkably done. There was a gripe about Beatrice dying that I'll get into later, but the way she died was, whoa. It was brutal. It took your breath away. That is going to leave a mark. One of the most brutal deaths in The Walking Dead. I mean, you saw her rib cage being ripped apart. You saw them rip off her leg. She was torn apart by this horde. You saw how quickly all of these walkers just can completely tear into somebody. One of the most brutal deaths I've seen on this ever on The Walking Dead. One of the most brutal deaths. I'd put it up there with Glenn's eye popping out of its socket. Like, that was an incredibly brutal death. Damn, that was pretty awesome. So now I have some gripes with this scene playing out as well, but with Gabriel's arc in The Walking Dead has been handled really, really well. Because when we meet Gabriel, he's a coward. He's a complete coward. He locks his flock out of his church and they all die. And he's been hiding out in this church. He's screaming out for help. When we meet him, he's begging someone for help. He's completely dependent on a higher being. He even at one point, I believe when they first get to Alexandria, tried to sell out Rick and the group, saying that they don't belong here. These are horrible people. They don't deserve to be here in Alexandria. So he started off as a pretty self-serving character. And to see him go from that to, I'm going to put my life on the line, even though I'm dating Rosita, she has a baby that I'm supposed to be helping her raise. She just lost the father of her child, and then to have to lose me as well. He's willing to risk all of that to save everyone. He's willing to die for this group. I love that. I loved seeing that in Father Gabriel. Speaking of Father Gabriel, Maggie is back. We saw her at the beginning, but we do see her interact in a scene with Father Gabriel along with the masked man who wields like these two, I don't even know what they are, these two crazy knives. They're not knives. I have no idea what they are. But he's like her bodyguard or something. And when everything's over at the very end, we see Maggie interact with Judith. I really did love seeing Maggie and Judith interact because, as we all know, Maggie was there. She delivered Judith. Unfortunately, Lori did not make it. It's just a completely tragic story surrounding Judith's birth. And Maggie was there for it all. And she was there when Judith was young. And she left, and she hasn't seen Judith in years. And to see them reunite again, it was just really bittersweet. It was so heartwarming. I love the look that Judith gives Maggie when she sees her. Like, I know you. I know you. It was like this familiarity, even though she was a baby. There was just like this familiarity in the look that she gave Maggie. Like, I know you. I know you. It was just so heartwarming. There was no interaction between Maggie and RJ though. That was kind of awkward. Judith didn't introduce her to RJ like, this is my brother. I'm also wondering if we're going to see little Herschel. Are we going to see little Herschel? I think that would be really neat if we did. Some of the stuff that I did enjoy in this episode revolved around Lydia, and that was something that I was not expecting. I didn't really care too much about Lydia, to be honest. I'm not too sure what it is about that character, but I was really surprised that Lydia was the character that had some of the best scenes in this finale. It is not surprising though, because this is wrapping up the Whisperer War, and the war all started with Lydia being captured. So it's not surprising that her character plays a big role in the Whisperer War wrapping up. So the first thing I really enjoyed was the relationship between Lydia and Negan. I've always liked that relationship, the fact that they are both outcasts. They're both dealing with this animosity from the entire group because of the fact that the group has been at war with groups that both of these two characters have been a part of. Negan was the leader of the Saviors. He was the reason so many people died. Lydia being captured, Lydia being a part of the Whisperers, Lydia choosing to be a part of this group, causing her mom to get really angry, caused so many deaths as well. It caused this entire war, it caused them to throw everything that they knew just out the window, and it threw their world into chaos. It's not surprising that these two kind of gravitated towards each other because of just everything that they're going through. It's all very similar. Negan has kind of taken Lydia under his wing, and I do enjoy that. He's always had a soft spot for kids, and I enjoyed seeing his relationship develop with Lydia, even though she has been kind of pushing him away. She doesn't want that. It was nice to see. I did like the fact that Negan gave Lydia Alpha's mask. Just the fact that she has her mom's mask and she's about to put it on, and help this group, whereas the last person who was wearing this mask wanted to just do complete harm to this group. It was just so well written. And you have to remember, none of this is in the comics. There's no Negan and Lydia relationship in the comics, because in the comics, Carl is still alive. Everything with Negan in the comics has to do with Beta. There's nothing between Negan and Lydia in the comics. So this is really interesting for an audience member who has read the comics, who is watching. This is something really interesting to see. The Carol-Lydia relationship, really well done. Carol's character, everything that she's been through, she's had so much heartache on this show. She's dealt with so much loss, and she's been one of the strongest characters on this show. So for me to see her just want to give up and be done with it, just be done with this life, only to be stopped by Lydia, was that's how well this was written. When I was watching this part, it reminded me of Carol in the comics and how badly written she was, because she did the same thing. She committed suicide in the comics by making herself a meal for walkers. But in the show, she was gonna do the same thing, but she's also been through so much in the show. And she's been one of the stronger characters in the show. And she's just lost everything up until this point. And you really feel for her character in this moment. And to be saved by Lydia, the daughter of the woman who killed your son, who beheaded your son and put his head on a spike. And she looks back and she's also wearing the mask of that woman. I'm sure that it just shocked her. And for her to allow herself to be saved by that person, it was just so phenomenally performed, and it was just so well written. And then for Lydia to take off the mask and toss it aside with just disgust and anger and just ready to be done with this part of her life, you knew that that was the end. That was probably the best way for these two characters to wrap up this Whisperer storyline, this Whisperer story arc. Yes, that hurt is always going to be with them, but it's kind of like this release that they found, this peace that they found. We also got to see Carol and Daryl resolve their conflict as well. They said they're always going to be there for each other. They mentioned New Mexico, which kind of is a nod at their new show. Yes, they're going to get a spin-off show. Carol and Daryl, they're probably going to go to New Mexico like they've always talked about. We did see the little friendship bracelet. Carol's still wearing it. She hasn't taken it off. That relationship means so much to her. So seeing them finally be okay with each other, forgiving each other, was nice to see. I think it's a really huge step for their relationship going forward. We finally see Connie. I've been complaining about it for so long. What happened to Connie? I love Connie. We finally see her. She did make it out. We do know from Magda that they both made it out, but she doesn't know what happened to Connie because they got separated while they were in this horde. And she's found by Virgil. Now that Connie's found, I'm wondering if that's going to cause conflict again between Carol and Daryl. Carol was the one that set off the bomb. I'm wondering if that's going to cause a little bit more conflict. It's going to be interesting to see. Maybe that's something that they'll cover in the next 6 episodes. Not too sure, but I'm wondering if that's going to cause more conflict. But I'm really glad that we finally saw Connie, because that was just this little thing in the back of my mind that was bugging the crap out of me. Where the hell was Connie? I wanted to know where the heck she was, and we finally saw her. We only got a little bit of her, but we know that she's okay and she's alive, and that's all I wanted to know. I wanted to know what the hell happened to her. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to talk about the Beta death, Beta, Negan, and Daryl fight, and then I'll get into some stuff that I did not like about this episode. First things first, Ryan Hurst is a phenomenal actor. He is Beta. I'm here for this character. Him going freaking crazy after losing Alpha, taking her face, melding it with his mask, and then after that starting to go crazy, hearing the dead speak instead of, the humans in Walker skins speak. No, the actual dead are speaking to him. He is nuts. He's gone just mental, and Ryan, he plays it so well. And what's great about his acting is that in this role, half of his face is covered, so it's all in his eyes. He plays this character with his eyes because he barely even speaks. He barely speaks in this role. He has very little lines in this role. So it's all in his eyes and the way he moves his body. And he does it so well. That's why it killed me when we finally get to see that Negan versus Beta fight that we've been wanting, that was just epic in the comics, and his character got taken out so quick. The death, the way he went out was really awesome. Way better than the way he went out in the comics, but still, it would have been great for the fight to last a bit longer. I mean, after that Beta Daryl just freaking epic fight with double-fisted knives on both sides, after that fight, I was just like, hell yeah, Beta versus Negan is gonna be freaking awesome. Beta finding out that Negan was the one that killed Alpha. You're begging for an epic battle at this point. You're just begging for it. Negan would have died. Beta would have killed Negan. And I really didn't like that Negan didn't have his bat. And I mean, we don't know where his bat is. Michonne was the one who took it and hid it. She's the one that knows its location. She's not here anymore. So I don't even think that we're gonna see his bat at all. Unless he finds it, unless he happens upon it, I don't think that we're ever gonna see Lucille again. It was so incredibly quick. I don't even remember if Negan even had a weapon. It was just so quick. It was so quick. That is my one gripe with this. Now the way Beta went out, I mean, 2 fucking knives to the eyes. Whoa, that was crazy. And then Beta just takes him out. We finally see Ryan Hurst. We see him. You know, we finally see him. Beta is unmasked and he's getting eaten by this horde, eaten by his guardians that he cherishes so much, that he holds as his protectors. He's getting eaten by them. And he has this smile on his face because it's like, it's his pleasure to do so. It's his pleasure to die at the hands of his guardians. That was pretty freaking epic. Just his death was pretty epic. The fight was crap. So that's one of my gripes. Another gripe was that I really think that Beatrice should not have been the only one that died. I think that Father Gabriel should have died in this episode. He should not have been saved. He dies during the Whisperer War in the comics. It would have been an amazing way for Father Gabriel to go out. I think that would have been perfect. If the character doesn't make it to the very end of the season, I think that they missed an opportunity to give his character the epic death that he deserves, because his character progression has been so great to see him die for the people that he's trying to protect. Whereas before, he would have just been happy to let these people die and to save himself. So I think that he should have died in this episode. If he ends up dying like some other way, it's just a missed opportunity. It won't be as great or as grand as it would have been if he would have died in this episode. Even though I was really hoping that they wouldn't kill his character off, I really think that they should have killed off Jerry. He's a fan favorite and I freaking love Jerry. There have to be deaths. There has to be stakes. There has to be consequences to war. This is a war. This is a Whisperer war. Why aren't there any deaths? We need to see some consequences too on our side. And I think that Jerry's death, if they were to kill him and Father Gabriel and Beatrice, that would have had a greater impact on fans and on this story. So those were my major gripes with the finale, with this episode. What am I looking forward to? Because we're going to get additional 6 episodes tacked on to the end of season 10. I'm looking forward to seeing Maggie and Judith and RJ interact. I'm looking forward to seeing if there's going to be any conflict between Connie and Carol. I'm looking forward to seeing any conflict between Maggie and Negan, because Maggie and Negan have a lot of history there. Negan killed Glenn. Maggie wanted to kill Negan, but she left him alive to rot in a cell. And because of that decision, he has become a completely different character. He's been able to grow, essentially. I'm also looking forward to seeing any interaction between Virgil and Daryl. Virgil was the one who was with Michonne, so he does know where Michonne went. He knows that she went to go and find Rick, so I'm interested to see if Virgil is going to tell Daryl any of this information. And finally, of course, I am looking forward to seeing the Commonwealth. We saw the Commonwealth guards at the end of this episode. Their uniforms are epic, comic book accurate. I absolutely love them. It's a huge huge community. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Eugene finally meeting Stephanie. But other than that, I really enjoyed this finale. The finale that we were supposed to get in April, I did really enjoy it. So let me know if you guys watched it. I would really like to know your thoughts in the comments down below. So I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. Please come say hi on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and feel free to share it around if you like. Also, I hope you consider subscribing and let me know in those comments down below what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye everyone.